I still have with me Elvis Darko of the News Center newspaper, Ibrahim Adjei, a former Assistant Secretary, Office of the former President, and the Chairman Emeritus, Adjei, former Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC. Chairman, I mean, you have the floor now in dealing with the issue, our path to sustainable peace in Bawku.
Yeah. If you heard me earlier, I told you about the youth.
Yeah.
And this conflict is being escalated by the youth. And probably a few warlords or chiefs in the area. So you need a homegrown solution.
Right.
A homegrown solution.
What will this entail, this homegrown solution?
And I said earlier on, we need to let the youth understand themselves. They need to assimilate together. I don't know, like Ibrahim said, we don't know how far the assimilation is in that upper East Bawku area enclave. So these are things that first we must study and find out how are they integrated. Because I believe that these countries, Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, decided that we must all integrate together. We must be one nation, one people, one common destiny. The differences, all of us are Ghanaians, whichever tribe. So when I was growing up, when I was a kid, and went to Adjei, you know, it's a boys' school, and in the mornings when we go to bath, we have all manner of people from different backgrounds. We all bath together.
Yeah.
You understand? And you didn't ask, where are you from? So the word tribal at that time was not in our vocabulary. We're not tribalistic. Everybody was a Ghanaian. Though there were sentiments of, but invariably, and we were together. Unfortunately, tribal sentiments and chieftaincy issues have crept. That's why Nkrumah was very hard on chieftain. I'm sure at a certain stage, he even banned chieftaincy. But he knew that would be the bane of our existence. You know, so these things have now crept into our daily lives. What do? We need a homegrown solution. Nobody can come from outside to resolve the issue.
Yeah.
So people in Bawku, Upper East area, we must find a way of all of them coming together. Be it employment, be it intermarriage, whatever it is. But as for the politicians, we have interfered in all this matter because of political gains. And like you said, you have the Kusasis claiming their NDC, the Mampusis claiming their MPP. Now, the question is who caused them? It's the same chiefs that kind of align themselves to the political parties, and then the politicians also feed into it. So it's not the politicians who jump in, it's the chiefs themselves who quickly align themselves all of a sudden. So you have the politicians then feeding into it. So it has come to a time that we need all of us to step aside and let us find homegrown solutions. How we are going to do it is to have a holistic view of the whole situation, because it's a family tribal nature. How do we get these two tribes to start understanding themselves? It has happened in Rwanda. Rwanda fought, so many people were killed, whatever. I mean, you could see the bodies lie in the street. But eventually, now, they don't want to hear you calling yourself Tutsi or whatever, or Hutu or whatever. No, you are Rwandan. You understand? So anybody who tries to quickly decide that is from this tribe is nip in the bud. Probably, let us study good practices or whatever other regions have done. Conflict areas. There have been so many conflict areas. I don't know if they've resolved them. How were they done?
Very well.
And this is what we have to do, because if we are still going to go the same path of resolving the issue, that's why I said, how many years now? So many years, the conflict is still there.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
The U.S. and the whole world has been fighting to have a two-state solution in Palestine.
Yes, I know.
Two-state solution.
Yeah.
So up to now, the two-state solution is still yet to work.
But now,
that is why today, Israel and Palestinian,
They are fighting.
You know why? It's because of the size that if the Democrats are in, they tend to support the Palestinians. If the Republicans, they tend to support Israel. So you can, even today, you can see that Israel, they've just gone bonkers because they know the man in the White House. Whatever the man sits down and judge with him and laugh with him. So that's the bane of when you bring politics.
So if you suggest that, okay, let them rotate the paramountcy. Probably it may not work. It may work.
It depends.
Or you say both of them should have their paramount chiefs. Will they agree? Will Mampusis agree that
they should have a chief? Then that means you have to go into demarcation.
Exactly. And then you are going to pass, when you are demarcating, so you definitely go and pass a Mampusi area before you enter into
understand.
But there's confusion about me being a meter short.
But wouldn't they live with, this is a Mampusi paramount chief, this is a Kusasi paramount chief.
But they have this.
Shouldn't they be able to live this? This will be called a two-state solution. Couldn't they agree? So I think some of the issues
as we sit there now, there's a Mampusi.
But that is what the Kusasis oppose. That is what we are. That is the problem we are having now.
I'm sure these are issues that the Otufo-led mediation process will be looking at. But let's get into other issues. Electricity, water tariffs going up. 14.75% electricity, 4.02% water, effective May. Okay?
May 3rd.
May 3rd, yeah. Elvis, you have been reporting on it. You go as far back as 16 years.
Yes.
352% electricity hike.
Yes. You see, I sat down and asked myself, with all the increases that we have given these utilities, can we also say that we have seen that level of improvement in the service delivery to us? Can we say that?
No.
So clearly there is something wrong, and until we find that solution, they will only be piling their inefficiencies, the bad contracts they sign, and all the losses they incur. They will only find a way of passing it on to the consumer. Because if in just 16 years, we are talking about 350 plus increment in just 16 years. Look at how the consumer has been patient and keep absorbing these increases up to today. But here is the case. I slept in Dumso yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did sleep in Dumso. You understand? That's man controlled area. You understand it? So if I have absorbed 352% increase in 16, why should I still be sleeping in Dumso today? Why? Because the finance minister told us that currently ECG's debt alone is about 60 billion. ECG's debt alone is about 60 billion. You see, when you talk about privatization or joint venture, people are so emotional. Why should you privatize or do anything about ECG? Look, it's not that ECG cannot be managed to be profitable and deliver better service to us. It can be done. The problem I see, and I know that is the problem, is that, look, politicians are not bold. They are not capable, and they are compromised in doing the right thing to make sure that ECG works. They are compromised in the sense that ECG is a cash cow, and therefore politicians go there for contracts to make money for their campaigns.
Is it?
So you see ECG offering so many contracts. Go and check those who actually ECG gives all those contracts to. They are politicians and financiers of political parties. So they are scared that if they leave it to the private sector, they will not have that control to be making those monies from all those contracts. Because the moment they go to private hands, they decide to do their procurement the professional way, not to favor somebody who is a politician or a financier. The politician is not willing to say, Elvis, I'm making you MD of ECG. In the next 2 years, if you don't achieve ABC, they will sack you. The politician can't do that because I am being appointed, or the person being appointed to that place as a reward for his or her contribution towards the party's campaign and victory. So these appointments are given to people not on merit. No, so they are given to people because of their contribution to the party, not because the person is capable of transforming the place and has deliverables that the person will be measured with, and the person is not able to achieve, the person will be sacked. No. So when the politician is not ready to take that difficult decision, there's no way ECG is going to work. And that is why if you give it to a private person is not giving you a ECG MD because you contributed to a political party. It's looking at the most competent person and it's giving the person deliverables and judging you by your performance. And if you're not able to, it sacks you and hire another person to make sure that the institution works, because as an investor, the investor will look for return on investment.
Investments, yeah.
But that's not what government will do. And that's why ECG is where it is. That's why the Public Utilities Regulatory Workers Union says that you don't need to privatize ECG. If government does things the way private sector will run any organization, ECG will be very profitable. But the truth is that all that the public utility workers are saying is the truth. If that is done, ECG will become very profitable organization. But the politician will not do it. So then we have no option. We should look at a joint venture for ECG. Because if you look at the state ownership report, which tells us about performance of state-owned enterprises, it tells you clearly that the institutions that are doing well are those that are into joint ventures.
Right. But
the ones that are owned 100% by the state are not doing well. So the report gives a clear path of how we can make SOEs work. If you will not give it out 100%, let a significant share go to private sector and let it work. Aside the state-owned banks, we have ADB, we have NIB, we have GCB, and before CBG.
Yeah.
Go and look at the books, the budget, and the Bank of Ghana Research. ADB and NIB, which are 100% owned by the state, they are in serious crisis. GCB, because the government offloaded on the stock market and gave a significant share to private sector, GCB is doing so well.
Yeah.
So it tells you that joint ventures for state-owned enterprises is the way to go.
Actually works.
But if we continue this way, where we think that because ECG is huge procurement center, and therefore financiers of political parties and politicians will continue to enjoy good contracts there to recover their investment in campaigns, and therefore ECG must remain in state hands. Look, we are heading towards a situation where one day we'll shut down the entire system.
Do you think if we allow other private sector players into the space, just as we have done on the generation end, it will help? I mean, into the distribution end, it will help. Not necessarily privatizing ECG or going to a joint venture, but allowing other private individuals to get into the distribution.
See, bringing other, the cost involved is huge. Get ECG to be efficient first before others can ride on it. You can't tell somebody that you should come and make that kind of investment to bring in an alternative. No private investor will come. Because the cost,
as an alternative distributor.
Yes, because the cost of investment that will be needed to be able to achieve that is crazy. But if you get ECG to be efficient and working, then ECG can adopt some of those things into the efficient system to increase the efficiency. Look, the country's economy, Ghana's economy now, I can tell you that the biggest problem Ghana has is the power sector. The energy sector is Ghana's biggest problem. Look, it's the biggest drag on the economy. I'm telling you. If you look at the IPPs that have been signed, as at the end of 2023, we have paid over 13 billion for power that has not been consumed under take or pay because of the kind of contract we signed. If you compare the cost of power plants we have signed in Ghana and to Cote d'Ivoire, Cote d'Ivoire builds similar power plants far cheaper than the ones we have signed and built in Ghana. If you look at our utility tariffs in the sub-region, because the cost of those plants are expensive, the tariffs we pay also becomes expensive. The generation cost for electricity in Ghana is far higher than what happens in neighboring Cote d'Ivoire. The figures are there, you can compare. So clearly it means that we can do things better in the sector and bring efficiency.
Sure.
If we are able to solve the problems of the energy sector, the power sector, and make the energy sector efficient, our economic growth as a country will be faster than we are now. Now, it's like a lot of money the state generates that should have gone into other things. Goes into the energy sector. We said we are a country that spends cedi. there's Bank of Ghana directives that don't charge in dollars. But the state signs contract with power producer and says, I'll pay you in dollars.
Right.
The state signs contract with IPPs and says, we will pay in dollars. Meanwhile, when the cedi depreciates, it means that the cost of payment increases. And therefore, you are overburdening ECG with those kind of contracts. And therefore, by the time they sold the power to you, and by the time you pay back the money, the city had depreciated. So the money they have collected is not enough to pay the amount at which they bought the power.
Thank you, Elvis. Ibrahim, the PUIC actually defended this increase.
Please, that defense is the same thing every year the past 2 years.
Attributed to inflation, unstable cedi. Do they have a case?
No.
They do not?
No, I'll explain why. Because you're looking at the front end of the problem. Ukozam is what we need to be understanding. Elvis has mentioned something. 350% cumulative increase.
Yeah, over 16 years.
Yes, over 16 years. Of that, 294.6% increase is attributed to NDC government or administration.
Are we going to politicize this?
No, listen, no, don't. Adekoko, hold on. Chairman of Hane. No, listen to me.
My submission was
no, listen. We're not here to be friends, we're here to help Ghana.
Ibrahim,
so if I'm hitting you,
power for 8 years. No, you be power for 8 years. And look at
already
what happened.
let
me interject. I'm not interjected.
You have interjected, and I'm sure your producer will give us more time because I want us to get to the president's good initiative about Feed Ghana.
Yeah, we're going to go there.
Good. So I want to focus on it. It's important. You know, if you say don't do politics, if I see that this particular mouse is eating the cheese, should I not point you to the mouse so I can put certain things in place so that mouse can learn better? Why? 2013, you increased it by 89.1%. We're all in this country, Chairman. Sometimes if it's bitter, take the pill.
No, I'll take the pill.
Yeah, and when it's sweet, also lick your lips.
Don't worry, I'll come back on you.
You understand me? 294% of that is under NDC. It's all politics. I need to understand the cause of my disease so I can offer solution. Elvis started now. I'll come and assist what he's saying about energy and how the solutions there. MPP cumulatively of that 350%, it added 57.45% over the 8-year period. Why am I now bringing politics into it? Because it's about management. Before you tell me let's do privatization, if the same manager is in place, your privatization is bogus. I mean the efforts. What needs to be done is this. Small modular reactors.
Okay.
It's a nuclear reactor, but it's on a modular level, whereby the isotopes, I mean there's uranium there, are in a spherical, if I talk too much, I may lose the audience.
Right.
But there are small modular reactors ranging from 1 to 20 megawatts.
Okay.
Good. The cost is $50 million. $50 million.
I think this is under something that also came up under the MCC.
That I don't know. No. But I'm telling you what is available now.
The nuclear authority is trying to build a nuclear power plant.
Power plant.
Yeah, so they are working on that.
But this is not at that
Huge
large
level.
scale.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a small modular reactor. And the capacity is 20 megawatts. Cost $50 million. In 2023, the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee stated that the PPA agreement that was signed under then President John Dramani Mahama, okay? Remember the take or pay?
Yeah.
Whether or not because they were hemorrhaging because of mismanagement. So they said, Charlie, just you create the infrastructure, whether you sell me the gas or not, or the electricity or not, I will pay you. The chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee stated that the cost to the state of Ghana, not to the cost of NDC or MPP, to Ghana cost us $968 million. From 2017, when they exited, to 2023, we paid nearly $1 billion.
Yeah.
Then you have the Sankofa Offshore Cape 3 Points gas agreement. Ghana paid between $28 million to $40 million per month. Now you tell me, Ibrahim, why the difference in the payment? Elvis opened that door. Exchange rates. Because if I'm paying $28 million, how does it shoot to $40 million?
Yeah.
That's the Cape 3 points for underutilized gas. Who signed that agreement? John Dramani Mahama. So why did I bring in the SMRs, Nana Tufa? I want to be brief and to the point.
Yeah.
If 20 megawatts of a small modular reactor, and it's scalable, it's $50 million. Do the math. Then you can do what? Buy over what? A series, maybe 50 modular reactors, and still we have change left from the $968 million NDC caused us.
Right.
Those who are watching, who feel uncomfortable, my job isn't to make you comfortable.
No, but
my job is to speak in the interest of Ghana.
And for 8
Where
years,
for 8 years,
you didn't do it.
Yeah, for 8 years, the increase, because we're talking about PURC increase. It's not about we didn't do it.
Yeah.
How much Doomsaw? He slept in Doomsaw yesterday. I'm in Teshi. Yesterday we had a brownout. All the switches went off, but the lights were on.
So for the issue of the hikes, the
So,
utility hikes,
yes.
how much more can consumers take?
Consumers can't take it. But we've been here before. What happens? What happens for consumers? You find ways to do what? Offsets the increase. You remember during the 2012 up into 2015, 2016, everybody was having generators. Am I right?
I didn't have one.
I'm told generally. Okay. A lot of people were having generators, especially commercial entities. You were walking down Tiptoe Lane. All you could hear was, you thought you were in Lagos.
Yeah.
Generators. Because once you see that the cost of diesel is less than the cost of electricity, you change. Gari cassava is produced by what? Electricity. When I say electricity, it's milled.
Yeah.
There was a point when 1 olonko of Gari was more than rice under NDC. I keep hitting them because they're back in power, and I want to explain to them that there are solutions.
Oh, and you didn't solve them in your time.
What didn't we solve? From your increase of 300%, our increase of 50%. So we solved it. No. Did we have Doomsaw like you did?
Oh, God.
3 days on, 2 days off? I mean, let's be real to the reality.
Yeah, but how does this address the issue of the tariff hikes?
I'm telling you, I'm giving you the solution. There's nothing that we can do now. You know, management or statecraft requires this intelligence.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't have it, but they have mismanaged it for so long, and they're back to the same old, what do you call it, a playbook. Let me increase because I owe. Let me increase. But what you're doing, what are we doing? This increase, you think is going towards you or making sure the infrastructure is being invested in? It's going back to the people we owe that they signed.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Isa alayhi salam.
When you came, you didn't sign it.
Listen.
Wrap up.
I'm wrapping up now. I'm hoping we'll get to hydroponics. I'm wrapping up.
Yeah.
The increase is something that we have to consume. But if the government can rather be more creative in looking for solutions, and I've given you one. Small modular reactor. Please Google as I'm talking. 20 megawatt one will cost you $50 million. And government can do this. Energy is what will unleash the economy and make the economy robust and effervescent. The economy can breathe when you have sufficient, stable, affordable supply of energy or electricity. The SMR is one angle. Of course, you have your solar panel, what do you call it? Solar input as well within the national grid. All these things are there. So these are my solutions. When we do that, suddenly ECG or PURC will see that, hold on, now we can create or produce energy efficiently, affordably, and so then it will reduce because the
tariffs.
SMR can feed into the national grid.
Very well.
That's my suggestions to the NDC government.
No, we don't need your suggestions.
Oh, you need them. You need them.
During
you
this
listen to me, you
campaign,
succeed.
you promised that one of the features of the 24-hour economy will be reduced
we're
electricity
going to do
tariffs. Chairman, why are we here? First quarter,
we
we're
are
seeing an
here
increase.
because of an IMF program that they signed.
No.
What? Oh, please.
Well, continue. I want to detect.
Please. This is a program that you signed under IMF. Quarterly review. You know, time we're doing quarterly review, just been for 3 months. And this is an IMF program that we are following. We have, because we decided not to abandon the IMF program until its final completion. But let's go back. What are we hearing from electricity ECG. Procurement alone. Procurement. Your budget was X amount of need for procurement. And you constantly what? Procure beyond even your budget. That's the mess we are in now. For 8 years, that you empower. You've left huge debts at the ECG.
Should the consumer bear the brunt of this?
I'm coming. No. The consumer should not bear the brunt of this. I feel that the 14% increase is too high. That government should probably subsidize. But naturally, this is what the IMF is against. That government should not subsidize power. And that is where we are today. And that's the recklessness of the government. That for 8 years, just like Elvis said, gave contracts to his cronies. Elvis is right. Go and check the procurement of ECG and see who benefits.
But Elvis referenced all governments, not just
I'm
one
saying
government.
the last 8 years. I'm not talking about previous governments. I'm talking about the last 8 years. That was why they were chalked out with that huge majority. So you can't come and sit here and pontificate that this went to 259% at that time. At that time, what was the exchange rate? What was the exchange rate at that time? You took the exchange rate from 6 point something to almost 20. You messed the whole country up. You sunk money into holes. That those monies could have been used to at least solve the problem. That 58 million you put in the cathedral, that could have been used to solve some of the problems of ECG, as Elvis is talking about. You messed up. And you come to tell us 20 mega, whatever. Why didn't you do it in your time? You had the opportunity for 8 years. Why didn't you do it? And I come to profess ideas for us. You don't need the ideas. Your ideas were totally whacked by the Ghanaian. I decide not when I come to this program.
Even if the ideas are good?
We are not going to take the ideas. They should have implemented it. We don't need the ideas.
Oh, you're saying they should listen to me?
We don't need the ideas.
You're saying MPP should have listened to me?
Yes, you listen
Inshallah,
to
they will listen to me
now.
now.
Listen to yourself.
Inshallah,
MPP should
MPP listen to me and you have the opportunity.
You were in the flag staffer. You were working there. Didn't you profess to your energy ministers to do those 20 megawatts or whatever you're talking about? You should have told them to do that. You had 8 years to do. You didn't even put 120 megawatt down. You never did it. Don't come and sit here. You have no moral right at all to talk. They have no moral right. You see, the last time I came here, I decided I want to talk Ghana first.
Ghana first.
I want to bring politics inside. Then we'll go down to the gutter.
But we're looking for solutions for Ghana at this point.
We will look for solutions in Ghana. That is why
we are. At the top, when you do the politicking, it's the consumer that suffers.
I thought, that's why I said, for me, when I heard it, I called the energy minister. I said, this is PURC.
Yeah.
We've just put up the board. Let us go and revisit it.
Yeah.
Because it's too high for the Ghanaian people. Let's find out if you have to go back to the IMF and tell them. Because that's why we've given 1st May to start. This is the time to go and do negotiation.
3rd May, actually.
3rd May too. This is the time to go and do negotiation. Go back to IMF and say, no, our people cannot take this. Because me and you, as I now, anytime you buy within a twinkle of an eye, it's gone.
It runs
so I'm not going to talk NDC, MPP. I'm talking for all Ghanaians.
Yeah.
I think it's too high. Even the water is not even coming. And when you go there, I spoke to Mutawakilu. The purchase that they've done for chemicals will last for 10 years.
Right.
And there's no water, but they bought chemicals. Gave contract their cronies to feed their party. For 8 years. That's what they were doing. Giving contract their cronies. The last 6 months of they were just signing contracts like there's not going to be a tomorrow. Don't come and sit here and you are telling NDC increase Mahama. That was why 2016 they voted Mahama out. And what do you come and do? We are having this power problem because you never did anything to solve the problem of ECG. So I agree with Elvis that it has come to a time. So when you go to other jurisdictions, you go to London, you go to UK, you see that every county or borough or what a region has got its own power producing company.
That's what I was actually suggesting.
Even though there's a national thing, they've broken them down into various.
That other players are allowed into the sector.
So that it becomes manageable. So that's your solution. Then the inefficiencies, because the indiscipline of procurement, the inefficiencies, the low productivity, all these things, when you give the private person, not that you are selling but you give them a franchise to operate, and periodically every year or 2 years, you go and analyze what are they doing. Are they bringing the prices down, or are they improving the system? That's done everywhere. They're not going to put up 20 kilometers or 20 watts or 20 watts in various places. That's not what you need. You need to improve the efficiency in the system, then discipline the system. Like every said earlier on, if you leave this to politically appointed, managing directors, who was the MD? And they were siphoning money to Bawku. Don't tell her you don't know all those things.
How can you say that?
I'm telling you that. No. Please, continue. I'm coming.
Did I say that John Mahama benefited from the $968 million? If you make that statement,
you can go and sue me.
First one, I'm telling you that we paid nearly $1 billion through contracts that you
and when you came, you didn't change. When you came,
we added to the grid solar power.
You never renegotiated whatever PPP we have signed with. You added more. You signed more. Please.
If not for renegotiation, Ghana will suck.
Please.
No,
please.
You are. You need to be
current. I'm very current.
You're not.
I'm very current. You messed up.
You think I'm not? I don't know watching.
You messed up.
Ghanaians are watching.
You guys, they know when the mess you've caused.
Let's not do this. We have an issue to deal with.
Yes.
I mean, we can go on and on like this, but at the end of the day, it is the consumer, the ordinary Ghanaian.
Exactly.
That will
that's
suffer.
why I thought this problem.
You understand? So let's deal with the issue.
I thought we would elevate. Elevate the
Let's not do the everyday politics that we do.
I thought we elevate.
Exactly.
That's why I was
the elevation is there.
Please, let me finish.
Let's find solutions to improving the lot of Ghanaians.
You understand?
Okay.
I came here.
Chairman, wrap it up for me.
And I've been watching him on your program. He's got a tendency of going back, spewing things that you said we did badly. And when he came, the bad things that you've done, you are not talking about it. The wound that you've created, you are not finding, you didn't solve it. So as for me, I believe strongly that one, we need to do something about ECG. Like Elvis professed. We need to start, we should talk to the labor unions there, that they should sit down with government and see how their jobs will not go away. Because probably will keep most of them in their employment. So we start breaking them down. Greater Accra, Ashanti region, Northern region, Central region, so that we have some form of efficiency in the system. Procurement, although you don't go and procure things that you already have, and you go and procure more. And at the end of the day, because you can't use it, you either sell it. I mean, all those things that have gone have brought us where we are, and we all are consumers. Right? It goes to our pockets. That you go and buy power, and within 1 or 2 or 3 days you have to go back. Your incomes cannot sustain. So I believe government should go back to PRC, sit down with them, find out, look, this quarterly review, IMF, we want to restructure, reset the system. This quarterly review in the agreement, we need to tweak it a bit. We need to come down. If from 40, maybe let's pay 7%, people will be able to appreciate. So I'm sure by the close of business or by the close of good, the way government will come out with a policy towards how to ensure that Ghanaians don't take the heat, as you are talking about. It's not a problem. Let's elevate the conversation to another level and stop trying to. When we are going to score political points, we'll get nowhere, because people have milked this country. Whether it's alleged or not, some young man just transferred $7.5 million allegedly into his account and want to buy 27 houses. Under whose government?
Very well.
Under whose government? So please, let's elevate the government. Let's stop this. Muhammad did that. Muhammad did that. The moment you bring that in the conversation, as an NDC person, I'll not sit here.
Then we begin to do the comparison.
Exactly, and I can also spew things that I know. I'm very current. I'm very current. I go to break.
Thank you, Chairman.
So I know what I'm talking about.
Thank you.